Hello, welcome to my channel, Scorpio 1111. That would be me. I'm Darlene. For you returning viewers, thank you very much for your ongoing support. And for those of you who are new, a very warm welcome. Thank you for being here. And if you like this kind of content, I have a longer playlist with all kinds of readings, all sorts of people that have crossed over, so please check that out. If this one doesn't resonate, I thank you for being here, and if it does, I appreciate you showing your gratitude by hitting that like button. Thank you so much. That means a lot to us new channels in particular that are trying to get started here on YouTube. And if you want to hear more of these messages, maybe you don't see the one from the person you're hoping to hear from, please subscribe. I will be doing these on a regular basis. Try to get at least one out per week. Excuse me. I'm going to have to get a sip of water. It's a little bit of a allergy stir-up for me going on right now. Anyway, so we have a gentleman coming through who was a youngish man. He was not a teenager, but I can't really get a beat exactly, but he was strong, he worked out, he was fit, he was a fireman, at least for some part of this story, because that's kind of where the story begins. The story begins with him showing me he's on a ladder. And, all the fire truck and his people are with him. And now I don't know if this was an actual fire or this was training drill. I'm not certain about that. But he's showing me him climbing up the ladder. He was fairly, a good ways up this ladder, and he fell. Well, because he's a tough guy, he kind of pressed on. It hurt, but he pressed on a bit and didn't want to get it seen after or whatever. He just kind of brushed it off. Well, it ended up being, he finally did succumb and go and have it looked after, and it ended up being a fracture in his hip. And I don't know what else, but he's just showing me his right hip here was damaged in some way, which led him to have to, I want to say retire. He wasn't old enough to retire, but he could no longer be a fireman. Apparently there were certain physical fitness, criteria that he had to meet, and after this accident he couldn't meet those requirements. And it really hurt him deeply. He wanted, apparently, as long as he can remember, to be a fireman. That's what he wanted to do. That was his passion, was to be a fireman. So he was really devastated by that. But he went on, and he's showing me this sort of snippets, like scenes. They show me scenes in my head, and it's so, it's like a little cut frame of this part of his life, and then a cut frame of this part of his life, and so it's not just a steady stream sometimes. But now he's showing me a scene where he became a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and this message today is for his mother, because he's saying, I'm sorry I put you through all that, Mom. I'm sorry that I didn't realize how worried you were for me, how concerned you were for me over these years when I would do all these crazy things. So that's his message for Mom. But he's showing me after this happened, he took some time to heal and so forth. But then it was like there was an itch inside of him he wanted to scratch and couldn't. And so he started to become, or do rather, more and more out there things and daredevil things. And he just kind of became this adrenaline junkie. But that wasn't really, it wasn't so much like a pure adrenaline junkie's doing it for the adrenaline. It was more for him. It was this, and I'll come back to that, what it was, the message, which is back to Mama. But he's showing me like he has on I think they're called wingsuits, where you have, you know, like wings and you dive off a cliff or something like that. And he's showing me him going bungee jumping, and he would go around the world. So I don't know what he did as a profession that allowed him to afford all this. He's not showing me that. He's just showing me him doing all these kinds of physical activities that were, bungee jumping doesn't have to be dangerous. I mean, it's done in a safe way, but for normal people, those things are, I have no desire to go bungee jumping. I have no desire to put on a wingsuit and jump off a cliff. So for most people, they would be considered out there, dangerous to some extent. But he showed me wherever he went on some trip. He would travel, like I said, all over, and he went to a trip in, I don't get the name of the country, but I feel like it was in South America somewhere, or Central America, but somewhere where it was kind of a jungly sort of environment. And something happened, and he got an infection. I don't know if he had a cut or something. I don't know. I don't know what it was. He's not showing me. But all I'm seeing is he had to end up going to the hospital. He got this really bad infection, and they treated him. Now, what I'm not clear on, and I always try to be transparent with you. If I'm not seeing it, I don't say it. That led to his death, but I can't see if it's like he was in the hospital for a week and didn't make it. I don't think so. I feel like more they treated him and he got out, but his body never really came back. It seemed to affect him, and then he just sort of declined for some time after that, is what it looks to me. But again, that could be kind of all crammed together in a shorter amount of time, and than I may be seeing. The message today goes back to earlier when he wants to apologize to you, his mom, the viewer, who's hopefully seeing this message. And that's another thing. If you guys are watching this and it's not your story, but you may know someone who this story belongs to, please feel free to share these videos and pass them along. I trust Spirit will get these messages to whomever they're meant for, but sometimes that takes a little human intervention. So the message from Mom is, I'm sorry I put you through all that, because once he gets to the other side now, he's realizing, wow, I see now how much my mom must have worried about me doing these extreme things. And I think you, the mom, were a bit on the stoic side, and you didn't let on that you were worried. You didn't let on that, you were so concerned. Because you didn't want to stifle him. I mean, really, that you didn't want to hold him back. You wanted him to go out and have his dreams come true, but all the while you were very quietly, and this is, not an uncommon mother thing, right? Very quietly in your own private life, very concerned for him. So he's acknowledging that. And he's telling me, we're back to it wasn't exactly like adrenaline. Now, I don't know. I've never looked into the psychology of what makes an adrenaline junkie. So I don't know. But what he's showing me is the reason he was drawn to do those extreme things goes back to the childhood, because I get the feeling that his father was either not in the picture much, maybe very early in his life, and or the father figure was not, I don't mean to be unkind here, I'm just trying to translate the message he's giving me. It feels like he wasn't as manly, or I think he got the impression from you, the mom, that something happened where this man did not stand up. He was not he was not the man. He wasn't strong enough, or again, I'm trying to be kind. He just wasn't strong enough to be who he needed to be, as perceived by the mom, I think, for starters. And so this child, when he was a child, this young man, you know, we pick up a lot when we're kids that nobody talks to us. You know, the adults are having their life here, but us kids, we're absorbing a lot of these things, right? And I think he was absorbing this, and somewhere in all of that, because as I said, I don't think the dad was there for like his whole life. He left at some point when this young man was young. And so when he was young, he didn't get the message. I started to say he made the decision. He felt compelled that he had to be the man of the house. He had to be a strong man to take care of his mom. So however that played out, it could have played out in 1,000 different ways, but he put that pressure on himself. He's saying very clearly the mom never put that pressure on him, but he realized on some level that he needed to be a strong man, and he wanted to be there to take care of his mom in every way he could. So that was what was the initial motivation behind him doing these more extreme things. And you know, firemen and policemen and those kinds of people, and EMTs and doctors, they're very special people. They care a lot. They are willing to risk their lives to go into harm's way to save people. That's a special kind of person. And so I think that's partly who he was born as, a caring person. And then that was fueled more by, you know, like I said, this situation when he was a child, and he just realized I want to be the man. I want to be strong. I want to be always, you know, there to take care of my mom. And in his mind, that's what was behind propelling him, even though I'm not sure that it was conscious. I think it was more subconscious. I just wanted to go do these things and prove that I could do it. Maybe to himself, he needed to prove that he was man enough to do these kind of on the edge, daring things. But the bottom line is, his message was to mom is, he's sorry he put you through all of that worry and probably some sleepless nights worrying about him doing all these crazy things, and including him being a fireman. He's saying to me now, including him being a fireman, because God bless those people that do that. I can't imagine being my husband or my child that puts his life in danger like that every day. So, wow. Let me ask if there's anything else. Sorry, I'm distracted. This young man that just rode by on a bicycle with a fishing pole, and sorry, signs of summer here where I am. So let me ask if there's anything else. If you are still in contact with his, okay, he said my boss, my former boss, but then I said, well, that's very vague. His fire chief, I think is what they would have called him, his fire chief when he's just giving a nod to him. He said, you really helped me be a better man. Whatever that means, I don't know what that looked like, but he's just saying he helped me to be a better man. And maybe you, the mother, knew this man. Maybe he came to his funeral at some point. I don't know what your interaction with him was, but if there's an opportunity for you to tell him that, there's a message for him. He said, thank you. You made me a better man. All right, well, I think that's all we have today. He's pulling his energy back, and I hope this message reaches his mom out there in YouTube land. Thank you all for being here. As I said, if you like what I do, please hit that subscribe button and at least give me a thumbs up. I would be very, very grateful. That helps to encourage me to do more. Thank you all. I wish you many, many blessings, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.